Hey everybody, Chris here. Just wanted to pop on really quick and warn you that my audio for some reason this episode is really weird. I don't know if it was internet connection or what. I actually took a lot longer on this episode because I just was not sure if I wanted to even put it out. But Aaron and I had a great conversation talking about our most anticipated films of 2024. So here it is. Just a fair warning. Again, my audio is not great, but on with the show.
Hey, this is Brian Michael Bendis, the co-creator of Miles Morales, Riri Williams, Jessica Jones, and the Jinx World line, and you are listening to the Oblivion Bar Podcast.
Welcome to the Oblivion Bar Podcast with your host, Chris Hacker and Aaron Knowles.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 141 of the Oblivion Bar Podcast, the official podcast of the Fantasy Shop in St. Charles, Missouri. I am Chris Hacker. I'm one of your co-hosts here, and joining me this week, as he does every single week, my BFF, Aaron Knowles.
The anticipation.
There's a nice little teaser, Aaron. Wow, that was really sensual. A little,
Yeah.
Put the kiddos to bed, everybody, because we're getting a little sexy in this episode for episode 141.
Transsexual from Transylvania. Have you ever seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I have, yeah. Are you a big
Yes.
Rocky Picture Horror fan?
Yes.
Okay.
I am a Picture Horror Rocky Show fan. We should talk about this some other time. I feel like I don't want to,
We can vamp about Rocky Horror if you want. That's fine.
This is not I don't think they do this anymore. I don't know if it's a thing, but if you ever get a chance, look up Rocky Horror Picture Show Party. Okay. And if you ever get a chance, like if you ever do this with friends, throw a Rocky Horror Picture Show party, because there's a whole thing that goes along with it. Like there's a scene where, when they, after the wedding, they have a toast and everybody starts throwing toast around the room. When it's at the wedding scene, after they get married and they're coming out of the church, people bring rice and they'll throw rice around. It's kind of like a fun, interactive way of watching the Rocky Horror. And I used to go to these with my parents as a kid, and we would do all this fun stuff. You had squirt guns for the rain scene. It was great.
I don't know if you remember this or not, but you actually took me to go see Monty Python as like an interactive viewing at a theater in Savannah when we were friends, back when we were in the Army.
Yep.
Yeah.
You remember when they gave away the coconut?
They get coconuts? Yeah. And the spoons. I don't know what the spoons were about, but yeah, we got spoons. That was fun. I actually still have not seen Monty Python since then. This is back in like 2012, maybe roughly. Yeah.
Interactive theater is so much fun when it comes to the right movie.
The right movie, yeah.
I don't
know if we've teased this yet here on the show, but Aaron and I have been kind of think tanking this brand new segment called Be Kind Rewind, where we trade off old classics, topical movies, interactive movies, even things that we just want to talk about. Movies that, if Aaron has a movie that he really wants to talk about, he'll nominate it for his episode and we just talk about it. We'll invite guests on to talk about it. It'll deal with what's happening in pop culture with what's a movie that's coming out or an actor or someone, but movies like that would be fun.
Example, so we just got the announcement, and we're going to talk about this later on, for Furiosa coming out next year. Mm-hmm. Maybe we go back and watch the first Mad Max film.
Sure. Or even Fury Road. It's hard to believe that movie came out like 10 plus years ago.
Don't threaten me with a good time, because that is one of my top 10 favorite movies.
Sure.
I love Mad Max Fury Road. It is iconic. Can we do the show?
We're vamping at 2015. So almost 10 years ago is when Mad Max came out. But yes. So this week we were talking about our most anticipated films. Everybody, what you just listened to right there, that's like a normal grid episode, which is what we're going to talk about here in just a moment. After, we're talking about our most anticipated films of 2024. This is one of my favorite episodes each year, because Aaron and I essentially just go down the calendar and talk about what movies are coming out, this upcoming year, what we're excited for. We discuss what we're most highly anticipated for. And it's funny because almost every single time that we've done this episode, I think this is our fourth time doing it. Last year we had Brad Gullickson of the Comic Book Couples Counseling on the show to do it with us. But every single year, the movie that we nominate as our most anticipated always ends up being like incredible. And maybe that's our taste. Maybe it's just like we're nominating these easy home runs, But before we get there, we're going to tell everyone, shameless plug time, patreon.com/Oblivion Bar Pod. For your contribution and support, You could have access to The Grid, our Patreon exclusive weekly bonus podcast, episode transcripts, early access to these episodes you're listening to right now, and you could get a special shout out at the end of each Oblivion Bar episode. Aaron will do that here in just a bit. It is the best way to support the Oblivion Bar podcast. Aaron, we recently just surpassed 25 patrons, which is really awesome. Big milestone. What are we doing for the patrons because we've hit that landmark?
We're going to watch I'm not gonna say the one movie. We're gonna watch a movie that Chris has openly stated many times
Slight
on the
disdain.
Oblivion Bar that he hates, and that is Batman v Superman. We're gonna be doing a almost Mystery Science Theater 3000 kind of commentary to the film. So if you ever enjoyed listening to the commentary of a film that you really love, get ready for a guy who really enjoys it, except for the Martha part, and then a guy who really hates it except for nothing. And we're gonna do that. I'm looking forward to it. Chris is not.
Let's see. There are things. This movie is
the credits.
I love when the movie ends.
So Roger Ebert once said, "No good movie is too long, and no bad movie is short enough."
Yes, thank you, Mr. Ebert, with wise words. And I think hate is a strong word when it comes to Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I absolutely loathe that movie to my core. It is without a doubt my least favorite comic book movie of all time. Is it the worst comic book movie of all time? I don't think so. There are definitely worst comic book movies, but is Batman v Superman my least favorite? Absolutely. And we'll talk about it over on Patreon for our patrons. So,
and remember, we've just recently changed our tiers. So you can become a patron, of this show.
A program.
A program. Greetings, programs. You could become a patron of this show for as little as $1 a month. And everything that we get through Patreon goes back into the show. It makes the show better. So we put it into equipment, we put it into graphics, we put it into freebies that we give away, all this stuff. It goes right back into the show to give you something that you enjoy and that you will enjoy for as long as you decide to subscribe, which we hope is a long time. Just because this is what we love to do.
Most folks that join our Patreon don't leave. And kind of along those same lines.
We don't let you.
We don't let you out of our grasp the moment you get in here. Just full of grid and CGC talk and my bad dating. That's basically all you get over there on Patreon. But kind of along with that, you can now link and listen to Patreon exclusive content on Spotify. They made it really super easy where when you go to the Oblivion Bar page on Spotify, if you go to the top banner, you can just link up your account and there you can listen to both normal Oblivion Bar and Patreon exclusive Oblivion Bar. So enough of that. Yeah. Patreon.com/Oblivion Bar pod. Aaron, tell the people what we just released last week it's on Patreon, but it's kind of not.
So we just released the November edition of The Secret Menu. It's up on Patreon. It's free for everybody. It's issue number 4. It's a recap of the month of November. It discusses our upcoming audio commentary. It's talks about reaching, our 2023 goal on Patreon. That's what the commentary is for. We share some of the upcoming variant covers that we're excited for. We talk about articles that we've released on our website. It's just a fun way to kind of give you that quick look at what
summary
we're
of
doing
what we've done
of that month. So go over and check out The Secret Menu on our Patreon account. Again, patreon.com/Oblivion Bar Pod.
All right, enough shameless plugs. Let's get into our news and notes.
News and notes.
Alrighty, our news and notes segment is sponsored by Whatnot. Whether you're looking to buy or sell comics, Funko Pops, trading cards, or even shoes, Whatnot has you covered. You can download Whatnot on any iOS or Android device. And please use our referral link in our show notes to get $15 upon sign up, Aaron. That's 15. Free dollars. What is that?
Who doesn't love free money?
What kind of $15 is it?
Free.
It's free. Yeah. Whatnot. Yeah. Buy, sell, go live. That's what they do there. That's fun. So first up here on our news and notes, we have Marvel's special presentations are not expected to continue. Air quotes. Special presentation. Not expected to continue over on Disney Plus. Womp, womp, womp. So according to Scooper Daniel Rickman, Daniel RPK over on X, the plan is to shelve specials. The 2 previous ones, Werewolf by Night and Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, released underperformed with audiences. Now, I think that's viewership wise, because I think critically people were big fans of both of those. I think Aaron, we like both of them, right?
I don't think so. I still I'll be honest. I have not watched Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Aaron's the problem. We found it. Here we are. We got it.
It just did not look that good to me.
It was okay.
I don't know.
It was fine.
It was okay.
It was fine.
So that means it sucked because Chris. When
no.
It
was fine. It really, honestly, was just unoffensively fine.
But I loved Werewolf by Night.
Yeah,
and honestly,
so
I
good.
heard nothing bad about Werewolf by Night. I'd heard nothing really at all about Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. But then recently, we even talked about on the show how they released a full color version of the Werewolf by Night. And I was like, we didn't fucking need it. It was good the way it was.
The black and white was the way you should watch it. I mean, it's
Exactly.
a true homage to the kind of horror era, the 1970s Marvel, Tales from the Crypt,
noir, dark feel. Like it was like Nosferatu type feeling. I thought it was amazing.
And Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special was essentially just a kind of a loose setup for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It was a fun romp with Mantis and Drax. That was essentially it. And they find Kevin Bacon and he sings a song at the end. That's about it. Like actual Kevin Bacon, which is kind of funny when you describe it, but it's just fine when you're watching it. So,
okay.
As for the future planned specials, including the Witch's Road special, which was expected to follow the series Agatha Darkhold Diaries, as well as special presentations revolving characters around Nova and my beloved Silver Surfer, they are apparently being handled differently going forward, suggesting that the former could be folded into a series or perhaps released in another format. So, Aaron, what are your thoughts? Again, you said you had not even seen Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and you had mentioned that Werewolf by Night was good. How do we think you're going to see Nova, Silver Surfer? And we talked about it previously before the show that they have absolutely no idea what to do with Agatha in this universe anymore.
They have no idea. Honestly, I don't know. To me, I think it's great when they have like a holiday special. Like obviously, Werewolf by Night was a Halloween release, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And obviously Christmas for the Guardians of the Galaxy, but I think it's fun. I think it's a cool thing to do sporadically, but don't just again, I understand they're trying to slow things down, they're trying to create this, but we don't need it right now. I mean, again, if we were in phase 1 or 2 where we were only getting a couple of movies a year, it would be great. It would keep things a little fresh, it'll keep things fun. But I just don't think that we need that when we especially right now when they're trying to slow down the tempo of the MCU. I think it's kind of a good thing to kind of back off on some of this stuff. And honestly, I don't need a special for Agatha. I just want to see the show. I want to see Catherine Hahn again up there cackling, and I want to see Nova and Silver Surfer up there, and I want to see what's going on with them. I don't know if it needs to be a holiday special, but I would be down for content.
It's a fun idea for characters that you want to introduce in the universe, but you don't really have a full-fledged story or series to kind of center them around. I think there's plenty to say about Silver Surfer. Nova, I think you could easily throw in another space-based story. Could have easily shown him in Captain Marvel, in another Guardians film. Anything that anytime we're in space, just throw Nova in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because back in the day, they had kind of special presentations during phase 1 and phase 2. They were called Marvel one-shots. Did you ever watch Hail to the King with, it was basically, or this wasn't phase 1, this was phase 2, Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3 at the end of it. Cause Kevin Slattery, or is that his name? Kevin?
Yeah.
The Hail to the King one shot was basically just him in prison. And it was alluding that he actually was the Mandarin and he was just playing a role within a role. It was kind of convoluted and silly.
Well, those were more like little short, almost episodic, aren't they? They're not like an hour long.
No, it was it was 15 minutes long.
Yeah, it was like a short film. I think those are fun.
Yeah,
I think those are cool because they did stuff like that. They did one with Thor when he moved in with
Daryl.
And so I remember stuff like that. That stuff is fun. That's great. So, I mean, I'm okay with the small little short films. Again, they're almost like Illumination and they're almost like when DreamWorks and Pixar, when they have these little films that go before and after and around that's fun. That's fine. But I don't think that I need a full special presentation of the Guardians of the Galaxy every year or a holiday special of something every year. Now, again, if they're going to give us again, I'll just say it like this. There's a big difference between me and how I feel about Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday and Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night, we haven't seen anything. We haven't seen Man-Thing. We haven't seen any of these characters at all on screen. We've seen Guardians of the Galaxy enough. Give me small teams that we haven't seen at all as a special.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like with you. I can do with or without, to be honest. So, Aaron, let's move on to our next bit of news. And I know this is something that you were very excited about.
Get away from her, you bitch. Next bit of news is my kind of personal favorite. Alien Romulus, which is the upcoming new series, or is it a series? I think it's a series. No, it's a film.
Romulus is a
movie.
film. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I should know that. But Alien Romulus, I'm there's so many like shows coming out that I'm so excited for. Like we just talked about, the new Fallout show.
Yeah.
And there's some really good shows coming up. So I'm hoping like and it's movie quality stuff that's coming out.
We're in the golden age of television.
Exactly. I just watched the next episode of Monarch today, by the way, and it was fantastic. Alien Romulus star reveals the film story is set between Alien and Aliens. So there's, when she is basically put into hypersleep before she's woken up by the actual like Weyland-Yutani Corporation and then sent back to LV-426. Yes, so we're going right in that nice pocket.
She meaning Ripley for all the filthy casuals out there.
Yeah, Ripley, yep. Ellen Ripley.
Yep.
Okay, so the star of Fede Alvarez's Alien Romulus is Kaylee Spaney. She has offered some interesting insights into the film's story. While the movie is going to tell a standalone story not connected to any of the previous Alien films, the timeline of the movie is set between 1979 Alien and 1986 Aliens. So here's a quote from Spaney during an interview with Variety. It's supposed to slot in between the first and second movie, just like we said. They brought the same team from Aliens, the James Cameron film. The same people who built those xenomorphs actually came on and built ours. So yes, practical aliens is what I'm excited about. So getting to see the original design with the original people who have been working on these films for 45 plus years and has been so much of their life has been really incredible. So I'm so excited for this because
is Spaney trying to talk dirty to you right now? Is that
oh God,
is she flirting?
Spaney. Call me, text me.
Also, I want to shamelessly plug really quick Fede Alvarez, who is the director of this film. We recently, for our Halloween special, covered Evil Dead, and Fede Alvarez, that was his first film. So we're doing a lot of Fede Alvarez around here, and I know again,
talk Fede to me.
Aaron, my question for you though, with all of this, is when it comes to doing a story between Alien and Aliens. Are there comics? Are there novels? Are there video games? Now, we know that 20th Century Fox recently was just bought by Disney, so I'm sure a lot of that is no longer canon. But are there other properties that take place between Alien and Aliens? Because that seems like a home run idea, and I feel like I don't personally know that that's happened. But again, I'm also a filthy casual. So what do we got here?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Chris. No, I actually did some digging because I wanted to know more about this because I actually have a huge collection of Aliens comics, Aliens versus Predator, Aliens, Aliens Deadliest Species. There's a ton of them out there. There are so many books that are out there. There's even an Alien, Batman versus Aliens. There's a Judge Dredd versus Aliens, Superman versus Aliens, So, but there's only really like 6 titles that are technically canon comics. Okay. And those are Aliens Defiance, which was, 2016, Aliens Dead Orbit, which was 2017, Aliens Dust to Dust, which was April 2018 to early 2019, Aliens Resistance, and January to April 2019, and then Alien Rescue, which is July to October 2019. So those are really the only 6 that are technically. Is that 6? I should count better. That's 5 because I cannot count. Okay. So there's the only 5. The 6 that actually I was thinking of is Alien Isolation, which if you played that game, which is on like every platform out there, which is a terrifyingly, but it's amazing. The AI in that game, the what do you call it? Like the AI that controls the aliens.
Oh, sure.
Is phenomenal. It's actually a completely separate AI for each different alien xenomorph that is chasing you, so it's terrifying. Okay, anyways, there's a lot of really cool mechanics in that game. But that, and then there's one more, which is the animated adaptation web series, which released in 2019 also. Those are the only really 6 to 7 pieces of canon content. Now, everything else, obviously, that Marvel has released, that DC had before, was released before that. Or sorry, Dark Horse released before that. is not is like semi canon.
They're going to do the same thing they did with Star Wars, where, Star Wars was with the Dark Horse for a long time too.
Yeah.
And what Marvel has done since they bought Star Wars, they said all that shit no longer canon, but then they've slowly taken bits and pieces from the Dark Horse stuff and brought it into the Disney canon. Like Thrawn, for instance. Thrawn was a character that was strictly in the Dark Horse universe, and then and now he's part of the normal Disney universe.
I can't really speak for the Star Wars stuff, but like I do know, like, so the a lot of the reason that some of this stuff is considered semi-canon is because some of the characters from the movie somehow survive and wind up in the comics.
Sure.
And also the other thing about those other comics, as well as Isolation and the web series, was because they actually tie directly into the events that happened in the movies, whereas the rest of them in the comic series, again, there's so much out there. I have so many comics. There's even like stories that are just about the Alien Queen and like what she does, you know. It's just, the rest of that stuff, it doesn't necessarily tie in directly, so they probably will do what you're talking about and pull through some of it.
Take some of the more popular aspects of that initial work. I mean, Mark Verheiden stuff from the Dark Horse era, from the early 90s.
Yes.
You ask any longtime Alien fan, they'll tell you that's like some of the best work that they did with Aliens when Dark Horse had the property.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Like, there's two of my favorite storylines are obviously the first one is when Superman goes into deep space and battles xenomorphs.
Yeah.
And there's actually a second part to that where Darkseid like takes xenomorph like eggs and places them around the universe to try and take over the universe. And then at the end, after Superman stopped him, he still has a bunch of incubating body, like with the symbiotes or the eggs in them. Like it's there's so much to it, and it's crazy to see how they've been like throughout the years. And then most recently, we've had a lot of covers of Marvel characters fighting aliens, but it's never really been a story. It's never really been a canon story for Marvel, even after the purchase of Fox by Disney.
That will happen at some point. Like 6 months of bad sales, and it's going to be Wolverine versus. Well, we've already got Wolverine versus Predator right now.
Yes, that's running right now.
I guarantee we're going to have like a Punisher versus a Xenomorph, or whatever, like something like that. I could easily see them doing. So let's go into our last bit of news here. We finally got a trailer our very first trailer for Furiosa, starring Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth. So this is highly anticipated. We've been
How good does that look?
We've been teased for the last couple months, actually. Of course, with the SAG-AFTRA and WGA strikes going on, they weren't going to release a trailer during that stuff. So I think they've been shelving this for a bit. I think this has been in kind of just on the shelf, waiting to be released. Director George Miller returns to the Wasteland for a prequel to the critically acclaimed Mad Max Fury Road, which Aaron talked about earlier as being one of his favorite films of all time. Warner Brothers released the first trailer at CCXP, Brazil's biggest Comic-Con event, on Thursday evening. Footage seen shows Anya Taylor-Joy shaving her head to take on the role of Furiosa. I honestly have not seen Mad Max Fury Road in a while, so I don't remember what Charlize Theron's role really was. Do you remember, Aaron, off the top of your head?
So she was almost like a general. Or like an enforcer. Gotcha. Like, I want to say, and
it says here she was a fierce war captain.
Yeah. So I'm trying to give me 1 second. I want to look this up because
you go ahead and look that up. I'll keep going here. So the fifth entry in the Mad Max saga follows a young Furiosa as she navigates a sinister world after being taken away from the Green Place and many mothers, which again we see in that Mad Max Fury Road. This is obviously a prequel. Chris Hemsworth and Tom Burke also star in the film, with Hemsworth playing a violent but manipulative character named Dementus. So Furiosa is set to race into theaters on May 24th, 2024. Aaron and I watched this trailer last night, and boy, oh boy, does it look fucking awesome. Like, there's really no thought-provoking way, or like, there's nothing really to analyze here. George Miller does this so well. It's why he keeps going back to the Mad Max well. This apocalyptic world where you've got, I'm forgetting what Nicholas Holt's character was, the war boy in the movie.
Yeah.
Witness me. Like, he just is so good at this. Like, I'm very excited for this next installment.
Yeah, so what I wanted to look up, because like Furiosa basically is like, if you look at Mad Max, it's almost representative of a lot of like Viking kind of mythology, and Furiosa would be almost kind of equal to like a Valkyrie.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so she resembles like one of the goddesses. I think it's pronounced Aesingir.
Yeah. What is the accent that Chris Hemsworth
singers.
is doing in this trailer, by the way? Ladies and lady and gentlemen's is what he says in the trailer.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you watch like a lot of the, if you watch a lot of the Mad Max earlier films, all of them are, because they were made in Australia, I believe, either Australia or New Zealand, and so like all of them had that kind of like Aboriginal like kind of like dialect to the way they spoke, so it was really interesting. So I was kind of hoping that they would continue that, but they didn't really do that in the Mad Max Fury Road movies. But yeah, oh man, I watched that and I was just like, yes. I was like, I was,
it's all practical, like there's some CG of course, but like what makes the Mad Max series so impressive is everything that George Miller is able to capture in camera, and also the performances that he can get from the actors that he cast in these roles. I wanted to also point out that we do get a quick look at Immortan Joe, who's going to show up in this movie. Obviously, he's not dead because he dies in Fury Road, but it was cool to see him back. I wonder if Hugh Keys Byrne is going to be back for that.
We see a younger version of him, which is cool because that's what I was really hoping. I was kind of hoping like we would see like an unmasked version of him, but who knows?
Well, I mean, maybe it's very possible. And I don't think we're going to see Tom Hardy's Max in this, but I mean, we'll see. Because again, I think don't Furiosa and Max meet for the first time in the movie in Mad Max Fury Road?
What that's for the first time. What I anticipate is that they're gonna because Mad Max, he's been around for years, and he is almost like a wraith or a ghost. Like he's a legend, around the world, like in this world. And so what I think we're gonna hear at least towards the end of it some kind of like reference to the Mad Max.
Yeah. Well, again, we're very excited, and this is a great transition into what is essentially our main topic this week, which is our most anticipated films of 2024. We'll see where this lands on Aaron's list and my list even, because I'm very excited for this film as well. Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth, two actors that I just can't get enough of. Anytime they're in a film, I have to see it. So, and they're both kind of playing against character in a way. Like Anya Taylor-Joy usually plays this very stoic, kind of quiet character, usually says very little, but has a lot on her face. And Chris Hemsworth, his range is kind of impressive. I mean, ever since he did, I would say like since he did Thor Ragnarok, he's done some really interesting roles. Like he did Bad Times at the El Royale, which was a really cool role for him. He did that Joseph Krasinski film on Netflix with Miles Teller. What's it called? Spiderhead. Yeah. So he's done some really interesting things.
Even before that, he really shocked me when he did Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah. I knew that's where you were going.
I was just like, who is this? Like it was unknown at that point.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it for our news and notes this week. Once again, thank you to Whatnot for sponsoring our news and notes. Let's go ahead and get into our main topic, which is again, our most anticipated films of 2024. Before we do that, let's go ahead and take a quick break and we will be right back. Since 1981, the Fantasy Shop has been the best place to find comic books, graphic novels, board games, role-playing games, and card games.
So whether you are an avid comic reader, Magic the Gathering or Pokemon fanatic, or Dungeons & Dragons DM, the Fantasy Shop is your one-stop shop for anything you need.
With 4 locations, St. Charles, South County, Creve Coeur, and Maplewood, you'll never be without a store near you in the greater St. Louis area.
So check them out at fantasyshoponline.com and make sure you stop by and say hello next time you're in town.
Main topic.
All right, Aaron, let's get into our main topic here, which is, again, our most anticipated films of 2024. Let's look at the entire year of 2024 and what we're excited for in the world of cinema. So every year we get together and we discuss the upcoming movie schedule and what we are most excited for. This episode was actually almost in jeopardy because the ongoing strikes with the WGA and the SAG-AFTRA. Aaron and I, we decided here on the Oblivion Bar for most of 2023, I'm sure people probably noticed, that we were not covering any movies and we weren't talking about movies because we wanted to make sure that we were standing in solidarity with the actors, with the producers, with the writers, with everyone who was part of both the WGA and SAG-AFTRA. Now that those have both concluded, now that they've gotten their deals for at least a couple more years, we can finally talk about movies and what we're excited for. All that to be said, the strikes that happened during the summer have affected the movie industry in a very significant way. And we'll see that while going over this list. And we're going to just go again, month by month and talk about what movies we are really excited for. So one point I wanted to bring up, Aaron, before we get into our list is that for only the second time since 2010, we only have one Marvel Studios film, which is Deadpool 3, and one DC film, that's Joker Folie à Deux, in all of 2024. Well, obviously there was one other time. 2010 was the first time. 2020 was the second time. We all know what happened in 2020. So yeah, Aaron, what are your thoughts before we get into like our list here? Going into this next year with film, do you think that it's kind of a happy accident that with those strikes, it has kind of made Hollywood slow down a little bit?
I think it's a good thing. I really do. Because I think that there was an overabundance. There is currently an overabundance of, I don't want to say mediocre film or cinema.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so much good. There's a lot of good still out there. Now, does an overwhelming amount of good content make it like devalue a lot of what it is and kind of create that fatigue within audiences? Yes. And then we start getting things that we really enjoy. We start getting those things kind of passed over, and then we lose that good content that could have been appreciated had there been less out on the market.
Right.
So all of that saying is I am glad that there's going to be a slowing down of films coming out. I think COVID really taught us how important, because again, pre-COVID, we were about to lose all of our movie theaters.
Yeah.
COVID, we were going to definitely lose all of our movie theaters. COVID lifted, I mean, not lifted, but we kind of lifted a lot of restrictions. People flocked back to theaters, and we had this resurgence of cinema and films and people going back, and it was great. We still have our Regals, we still have our AMCs, we still have our IMAXs, all this stuff. So it's good to see that cinema is here to stay, but we don't need to oversaturate ourselves, because then we start losing out on those smaller, less funded films, like the more indie films as well. And I think this is going to be a good opportunity for Hollywood to slow down and bring up more smaller studio stuff.
I think that's a great point that you said there, because I think for a while there, it seemed like we weren't getting many films unless it was a guaranteed franchise or it was a big budget film. Now, Aaron and I, we are part of the problem, everybody. We love a big budget action film. We love a superhero film. Those are most of the movies that we cover on the show because we know that's what you want to hear us talk about. However, as movie fans, both Aaron and I, we love a small film. We love, like, a lot of times, I think last year, one of the films that we covered that it was actually one of our least listened to episodes was Barbarian, a small horror film that no one was talking about until they were. And I'm happy that we covered it, because it's movies like that I really want us to highlight sometimes. Of course, we're going to talk about your Captain Americas and your Batmans, but I like talking about a small A24 film. I love talking about a small neon film. And we're going to try to cover, or at least highlight, some of these films that we feel like will maybe get lost in the sauce as the year goes on. I'm going to start us off here, Aaron, going into January. Let's talk about what is usually considered to be a wasteland in the film industry, which is January. Now, over the last couple of years, January's actually had a couple hits. Like last year, we had Mithrigan, or Megan, as it was supposed to be called, which was like one of the biggest horror films of the year.
Yep.
And from the same studio of Megan is Blumhouse. We have Night Swim. So this is being produced by James Wan and Jason Blum. And this horror film is a feature-length adaptation of a 2014 short film about a woman swimming in her pool at night who is terrorized by an evil spirit. Now, I saw a trailer for this when I went to go see Saltburn, which we'll talk about here in just a bit during one of our segments. And I remember thinking, this feels like such a simple yet interesting concept. I want this to be like kind of like a like Panic Room type of movie, where this girl is stuck in the pool the entire movie, right? And like she's going through past, present, future. What are your thoughts? What's your temperature check here? Well, I'm sorry, real quick before we go into that. Wyatt Russell will be in this film. We had Carrie Condon, who two MCU alumni. We got Wyatt Russell, who is what's his name?
Sebastian Stan.
No, that's the actor. He plays the new Captain America. What's his name?
Oh, Sam Wilson.
The fake Captain America, Aaron. What's his name? Off-brand Captain America.
Anthony Mackie, I'm sorry.
What are you doing? What is happening right now? You know
was a joke.
No, I want real answers here. This is not the time to joke, Aaron.
Sorry. Okay, sorry.
I'm just kidding. You can joke all you want. I need to know because now it's bothering me.
Anthony Mackie?
U.S. agent, god damn it.
Wyatt Russell.
That's what I said. Is that not the words I just said came out of my mouth? Wyatt Russell, yes. Monarch's own Wyatt Russell. You're watching the show right now.
What's his name? Shaw. I forget he has the stupidest name. No, he has the stupidest name in Monarch.
Carrie Condon. She's the voice of Friday. the new Jarvis, as they say. Yes. Amelia. But the main actor of this film is, I'm going to say her name incorrectly, Amelia Holferel, I think, and Gavin Warren will be starring in this film. Anyway, my whole point, and I don't want to spend too much time on Night Swim because this is going to be a silly, low budget horror film from Blumhouse. That's what they do so well. So yeah. What's your thoughts?
Well, okay, so this trailer, it's funny that you brought this because this is actually one of the ones on my list for January. Mm-hmm. Did you ever watch the movie Buried with Ryan Reynolds?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. That's a good one. Okay, yeah, like kind of a what do you call that? Like a one location movie? Yeah,
exactly. So that's kind of like, I want this to be like a pool version of Buried.
Yes, same.
And so I do like those when it's a very I like limited location and limited casting movies. I think that they have a very impactful and amazing way of like kind of communicating a story. So I'm excited for something like that if it is as that is.
Yeah, absolutely. This one comes out January 5th. So Aaron, why don't you take us do you have anything from January that you're kind of excited about? Like just looking over the list here. And again, for everybody listening right now, this is going to be kind of a loose conversation between Aaron and I, just kind of going over each month and which ones we're excited to see.
Tim.
Okay. Yep.
Did you see that one? So that's Tech Integrated Manservant. It's a sci-fi horror film that looks pretty exciting.
Okay.
So
interesting.
It's inspired by 90s stock thrillers. The film follows this prosthetic engineer and her husband Paul as they adapt to a new life.
Speaking of Barbarian, Georgina Campbell. She's the lead in this movie. Yeah.
Abby's latest project, the AI humanoid Tim, initially appears as the perfect aid programmed to serve only her. It begins to transform into a perilous obsession. So very Megan, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't actually. I haven't heard anything about this, so that's interesting. I know another one that I really wanted to kind of highlight because it's actually getting an IMAX release, which is kind of interesting. Is Beekeeper, the Jason Statham film.
Yeah, Jason Statham. Yeah.
It's actually being directed by David Ayer, who did the first Suicide Squad film. So
really,
yeah, he also did Fury, which is one of my favorite war films ever. He also did Bright over on Netflix. But Jason Statham as a beekeeper assassin. Here's the synopsis really quick. So in The Beekeeper, one man's brutal campaign for vengeance takes on the national stakes after he is revealed to be a former operative of a powerful and clandestine organization known as Beekeepers.
We have to kill him before he kills his way to the top.
Honey?
It's flammable as fuck. Oh no.
If he doesn't sick an entire flock of bees on someone in this movie, I will be highly disappointed. That'll be a complete missed opportunity.
I'm trying to remember the name of this movie. I think it's called like Neptune Rising or something.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the girl from that 70s show?
Mila Kunis?
Mila Kunis. Yeah. In that movie, there was a guy who could like, his like power, his assassination power was like talking to animals. And that's what he did, was like he controlled bees. And then there's a character who I was just reading a comic, and it was Peacemaker Tries Hard. Mm-hmm. And there's a character in that who like, that's what he does. He trains a singular bee. To help to be like his. It's like that's what this reminds me of, and it sounds so ridiculous that I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm actually reading a lot of old Batman right now, and Ratcatcher was a big character that they were doing a lot with in the late 80s. The next one I wanted to talk about was The Book of Clarence.
What month is that one?
This is kind of a satire look at like what is the second coming, or I guess the third coming of the Son of God, and this is basically like. You've got Lakeith Stanfield, who is essentially performing fake miracles to show that he is like the next coming of Jesus. Anyway, and you've got James McAvoy, who is out to prove that he is lying. basically.
Great.
So very excited for this. It's exclusively in theaters. This is not like a Netflix movie or anything, but
Yeah.
I have a feeling this is going to be one of those ones that gets overlooked, and then we're going to look back on the year and be
Yeah.
like, man, this was a hit. Like,
That's
at least
gonna
I
be
hope
a
so.
sleeper. That's gonna be a sleeper hit. I think because like that guy, because I'm pretty sure he's the one that does like all the very thought provoking films, and I'm excited to see. I love all the stuff that he comes out with.
Mhm.
So I don't think that I have anything else.
Before we move on from January, temperature check on Mean Girls the musical. Any thoughts?
No, honestly, there's a Mean Girls.
Stop trying to make Mean Girls happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mean Girls happened. It already happened. It's happening. It's been happening, but don't keep making it happen.
Yeah.
Now, Tina Fey, you're just trying too hard.
Yeah.
Okay, you're becoming your own Disney, just wringing that rag out. You know,
It's interesting that they would make this because
yeah,
it's not based on the movie, the 2014 film. It's
based on the musical.
It's based on the musical, which is interesting. I don't know who this is for because Mean Girls hasn't not been out long enough. Like if it was a movie from the 70s or 80s, okay, let's remake Mean Girls. But it'd be like remaking Superbad right now. That movie is it's still within the zeitgeist. You know what I mean? Like we haven't gone long enough without it to need a redo. So I'm interested. I've actually heard good things about it. People who have seen it, critics and such, they've said that it's actually pretty good. But it being a musical, I thought I would get your temperature check because I know you like a musical. So let's get into February here. February 2nd, we have Argyle. Now, I know you've seen trailers for this. Of course, this is the upcoming film from the Kingsman film the director of the Kingsman film, Matthew Vaughn. And also he did Kick-Ass as well. If people who haven't seen trailers for this is essentially Bryce Dallas Howard is like a smut author about a spy who is being played by Henry Cavill. And apparently she can like predict the future based on her novels.
Yes.
So this film, it stars Sam Rockwell, Henry Cavill, John Cena, Dua Lipa, Bryan Cranston, Sophia Botella, Ariana DeBose, Catherine O'Hara, and Samuel L. Jackson, of course, because it's a Matthew Vaughn movie. So Samuel L. Jackson's going to be in it. So this looks really good.
Yes.
Are you excited?
I watched the trailer for this one and I'm like, oh, there's a cat in a cute backpack and then there's spies. This is right up my alley because like a couple of my favorite movies growing up. I don't know if you've ever seen them or heard of them, but there's Romancing the Stone, Jewel of the Nile, just obviously Indiana Jones, but Romancing the Stone and Jewel of the Nile were about a writer who wrote about this almost Indiana Jones type character and then gets kind of thrust into, without, that pun intended, her own type of adventure, when she has to go rescue her sister. So it's a really fun, kind of exciting genre, I would say. So I'm excited for it.
Slightly annoying. This is actually going to be streaming on Apple TV Plus.
I read an article the other day saying that Apple TV has become kind of the headquarters for like intelligent sci-fi.
Okay.
With all the stuff that's on it. So I'm really excited actually to see all the new things and even see some of the older things, especially with how good like Monarch is and some of these shows like Invasion and Silo. And if they get more hits like Argyle, I think it'll be a kind of definitely a go-to streaming service, which it hasn't felt like it was before.
No. So what's interesting about Apple TV is that I think it knows that it's playing from behind and they just don't care. Like they're just throwing money at the wall in a similar way that Amazon is doing, where they're just throwing, like they're all just trying to play catch up to Netflix. And the only 3 companies that have enough money to do it is Disney, Amazon, and Apple. So they're all just trying to play catch up to Netflix, and Apple TV, more so than I think the other two, are just what they're doing the opposite approach of what Amazon and Disney Plus are doing. They're putting out quality. They're putting out like a lesser amount of films, but they're quality. They're not just like throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks compared to like Disney and compared to Amazon.
In my brain, I just see that meme of Ralphie Wiggum in his bus seat, and I just see HBO Max like on it's like Ralphie Wiggum is HBO Max.
Yeah.
I'm helping.
You've got HBO Max just over here putting out House of the Dragon, and we're like, hey, that'll work.
Yeah,
that'll work.
So the next one I wanted to bring up, actually, I'm really excited for February 9th, Lisa Frankenstein.
Okay.
I don't know if you watched the trailer for that. That looks super fun. It's basically like an 80s romp into like this high school girl who brings this her dream guy, who actually happens to be dead and buried in this cemetery, brings him back from the dead and then starts murdering people to basically fix up his body. And it looks so good because it's got great music. If you get a chance, check out the trailer, Lisa Frankenstein. It looks phenomenal.
It reminds me of Under Wraps. Remember that Disney movie from back in the day?
Yes. I should have more information on this. I'm sorry. It's a Catherine Newton and Cole Sprouse are starring in Lisa Frankenstein.
Yeah, we know Catherine Newton, of course, MCU alum. She's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. She is Stature. What's Ant-Man's daughter's name?
Oh, and so this is being directed by Zelda Williams, Robin Williams' daughter.
Oh, very cool. I did not know that she was directing. That's awesome.
Yeah, the script is written by Diablo Cody.
Yeah. Cassie Lang. Why was I spacing that? Yeah, but that looks cool. I didn't know that this was a thing. So yeah, Lisa Frankenstein looks cool. Definitely check that out when that comes out. Cole Sprouse. I haven't seen a lot of what he's done since his Disney days, so that'd be interesting. February for me feels a little light, I guess. I don't know. Like I'm not really excited about too much as I'm looking here. The only one that really pops out at me to win looks pretty good. You've got Daniel Bruhl in that film. Basically, it looks like it is inspired by true events that occurred during the fierce rivalry between Germany, Audi, and Italy, LaCanta, in the 1983 Rally World Series. So, Rally World Championship, excuse me. So, of course, we've got Madam Web coming out February 14th. So take out your special someone on Valentine's Day and go see probably the worst superhero movie of the year. Maybe, like, we saw the trailer for this a couple weeks ago, Aaron, and you said you were like angry at this movie. You're like, she's not old, she's not blind. What's going on? like, what's happening?
You have more. It's rare, Chris, when you have more faith in a film than I do.
Sure. I mean, we can build to the blindness and the oldness.
I could see her being blind and old and like, something like, I get that. All more power to you. Throw me a good plot twist. I hope to be surprised.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to something that actually looks good, which is we've got the new Coen Brothers film Drive Away Dolls, which I saw a trailer for, I think in Saltburn as well. And this actually has Margaret Qualley, who was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She's also in the recent, she was in The Nice Guys. She's the actor in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood who gets a ride from Brad Pitt and she has the dirty feet. You know what I'm talking about? that actor?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Coen Brothers, you had me at Coen Brothers. So I will definitely be excited for this. It says here, in search for a fresh start where they both embark on an unexpected road trip to Tallahassee, but things quickly go awry when they cross paths with a group of inept criminals. So you got Matt Damon in this, Pedro Pascal, Coleman Domingo, Bill Camp, Beanie Feinstein, Annie Gonzalez. Like, this looks really good. And of course, again, I'm going to say it one more time. Coen Brothers. Duh.
Coen Brothers.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
Just to round out this release date. The one that I'm excited for is this is going to sound so fucking weird, but I'm going to say it anyways. There's an Estonian kung fu film called The Invisible Fight.
Okay.
That's coming out, and I am so excited for this. It's like it's basically a film festival film, and
everyone go look at the poster for this, because this is exactly the type of movie that Aaron really loves. Like, this is it.
Yes. So it's described as a satirical take on martial arts film, playing, tribute to the genre's Chinese wuxia roots through Northern European story. So it's after surviving a deadly attack, a guy decides to become a monk, but mostly continually to prove along the way that he's capable of becoming the enlightened man that he set out to be. I don't know. It just looks ridiculous, but it looks fun. So it's basically this kung fu like priest / monk from Estonia, and it's on the Chinese, Soviet Chinese border, so it's got like this weird kind of amalgamation of those two like film in, like, I don't know, locations. It just looks wild, so I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely, I know that's very much,
that's an Aaron decision.
Yeah.
And that's coming out February 23rd.
All right, let's go ahead and get into March here. So right off the top, and I think this is going to be on both of our most anticipated lists. Like, this is going to be Aaron, what do you got?
I have to interrupt. I'm sorry. I totally forgot to bring up one of my really excited ones, Orion in the Dark, which is coming out on Netflix February 2nd.
Okay.
It looks like your typical like it's a Netflix film, but it looks like your Pixar Illumination type animated film, and it's about this kid who makes friends with the dark because he's afraid of the dark. So he's like afraid of everything. And he basically goes on an adventure with the dark to become like that shows him that there's nothing to be afraid of, except just, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it looks really cute.
This is incredible. So this was not even on my radar. This is written by Charlie Kaufman, who wrote Being John Malkovich, adaptation, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Yep. Like, wow. Okay.
That's what I was going to bring up next. Like, I could never imagine that guy having written a children's film because his films are so like wacky.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty excited to see this one.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into, let's go into March 1st, that Friday, that very first Friday. Again, probably one of the most anticipated films of the year. No big deal. Dune Part 2. Whatever. Yeah.
Timothée Chalamet.
Old Timmy.
Yeet, yeet, yeet. Skirt, yeet, skirt.
If my new joint is called Cling, 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 you know what I'm saying? Bust it. Cling, cling, cling. Man, you capping. Ooh, cling, 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 cling. Oh, you capping. Drip, splash, water, drip, splash, splash, drip, water, splash, splash, drip, water.
Oh, yeah. So we've got Austin Butler. It will be in this film. We got Zendaya, of course, returning. Florence Pugh, my divine goddess, will be in this one. Rebecca Ferguson will be back. Josh Brolin, Dave Bautista, Christopher Walken will be back. Or no, not be back. He'll be in the film. Stellan Skarsgård, you gotta have a Skarsgård, of course.
Gotta have a Skarsgård.
Javier Bardem is in this one, which is really cool.
He looks so good. Javier Bardem is a fucking powerhouse.
Oh yeah,
he's one of those people that when he's on screen, he just like takes over the scene no matter what. He was in the last Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep.
And he just dominated the screen.
Yeah, Javier Bardem is like a cheat code. Anytime you have a film that's like if you have a film that's lacking, just put in a little Javier Bardem.
Which it shouldn't, because
this is not one of them. Yeah, this is not one of them.
Not one of them.
No. This is going to be good. Of course, Denis Villeneuve's his sequel to the adaptation by Frank Herbert. We obviously got the first Dune in 2021, and it was a banger and a half. We really liked it. Did we cover it on the show? Did we review Dune? I can't remember if we did or not.
I don't think so.
I can't remember. I mean, we loved it. That's the thing. That's really
I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah. I don't think we would have done it justice if we would have covered Dune on the show. Like, that movie is just big brain stuff.
Yeah, it really is. It's so political. It's so like, it's political. It's economics. It is a purely not for smooth brain people like us to cover.
Exactly.
It's not for lizard brains.
We'll just cover Rayman the following week instead.
Oh my God. Hell no.
But yeah, no, Dune Part 2, very excited for that one. So I want to talk about another trailer that I saw. Gosh, I feel like I keep reacting to these trailers that I saw this last weekend at the movies, but Imaginary, which is another Blumhouse film that's coming out. It's basically like, what would you do if your teddy bear was...
Oh, this one looks scary. I saw the trailer for this one. This one looks freaky.
Chauncey is his name, is the bear's name. Meet Chauncey. He's not imaginary and he's not your friend. So yeah, this should be interesting. I don't know a ton about it here. It says here it's being directed by Jeff Wallow, who directed Cry Wolf, Never Back Down, Kick-Ass 2.
And he also wrote it.
Yeah, wrote it
with
as well.
Greg Erb, Jason Ormland. Yeah.
Never Back Down, one of my favorite guilty pleasures of all time. It's unequivocally a terrible film, and I still love it. What's next? What else are you excited for in March?
Let's see.
There's something very specific in March that I think you should be very excited about. I think you are.
I mean, I'm looking through the rest of March, and there's one thing, and I already know what you're going to talk about, but the only thing is Ghostbusters. Like, there's nothing. There's Frozen really Empire. Nothing else. Frozen Empire obviously is going to be two bangers, and some mash. But obviously we got Frozen Empire features Paul Rudd, Carrie Coon, Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace, Kumail Nanjiani, who's the newcomer in the film, Patton Oswalt, new friend of the show. Celeste O'Connor, Logan Kim, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, and Annie Potts. Yeah. So we're getting back most of the team. We're getting Paul Rudd. We're getting the kids back. Gary Gruberson.
Paul Rudd is back.
So and
updated red costumes.
Oh my God. Okay.
What are your thoughts on that? Can we talk about that really quickly?
So I'm not going to riff on this too much, but I got to say this. I am in a lot, and I think I've told you this. I'm in a lot of fucking Ghostbuster groups on Facebook. Okay. And when the trailer dropped, nobody gave a shit like really about the new like equipment, because you do see some new equipment in the trailer, but people were losing their fucking minds over these jackets. They're like, what jacket is it? Somebody needs to find these jackets. Whose jacket is it? And when they found it, it's like, you can't buy a cheaper jacket. This jacket's 30. Like the jackets they have in the film are actually like these Swedish like down jackets that are like $3,000. And so people are like, who's gonna recreate it cheaper, make it so everybody can afford it? And so like, what about the colors of the patches? Like people were going crazy on this stuff. But there's like, and then the other thing was, once that kind of died down, people started doing a little bit of, you know, trying to figure out who these other characters are. They're reviewing like some of the like the screenshots, trying to figure out who's, because there's like another guy who has glasses who kind of looks like a young Louis Tully. So but they don't think it's him. They think his, you know, but his age does kind of match up. Even
what's your prevailing theory though with so McKenna Grace has kind of like a somewhat love interest in this movie, and you said that could be the love child of
we're talking about what is his name?
The gatekeeper and the keymaster?
Yeah. So
speaking of Ripley?
Yeah, so I'm trying to think of so Oscar is not the love child of the gatekeeper and the keymaster, but Oscar, some people believe it could be Oscar, who was you know, Sigourney Weaver's son in the movie. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of theories. Nothing's been founded. People are talking about how Kumail Nanjiani and some of the other characters look like how they're kind of references to some of the kids that were in the cartoon series of the real Ghostbusters. You know, one thing I've always wanted them to bring into a Ghostbusters film is Extreme Ghostbusters. You know, that team was on UPN, and when I was a kid, was such a darker look at the Ghostbusters like series, and it was so good, and they've never touched it since. And I wish that they would do more with the Extreme Ghostbusters, because, you know, they had cool equipment, they were grungy, one of them wasn't like a goth chick with piercings, and like it was just a cool team. And so I want them to kind of, I want to see a more broadened team when they get back to New York and take over the firehouse, which we saw in the end credit scene of, you know, Afterlife.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, I'll kind of end the Ghostbusters talk on just saying that McKenna Grace could easily she could carry this franchise going forward. Like if they eventually phase out the old crew officially, I like her character in that first one in Afterlife. So I think McKenna Grace is one of our favorite kind of collective actors working today. Everything she does, she's great in. So excited to see what they do with this Frozen Empire. There are two films that I want to kind of just briefly touch on. Kung Fu Panda 4 comes out. We haven't seen Kung Fu Panda in a while, but Mickey 17, which is the newest film that's coming up by Bong Joon-ho, who did Parasite back in the day. He also did Okja, the Netflix. Snowpiercer, of course, The Host.
I'm officially renaming Snowpiercer into The Polar Express for the holiday season.
Okay. Why?
Don't let your kids watch it. It'd be funny. I just think it's funny. The Snowpiercer could have been called easily The Polar Express.
That's true. In this film, though, we've got
babies taste the best.
Robert Pattinson is starring in this film as Mickey Barnes, an expendable / disposable employee on a human expedition sent to colonize the ice world Niflheim. So we've also got Stephen Yeun in this film, Toni Collette, Mark Ruffalo, and Holliday Granger.
So Niflheim is actually the where the frost giants are from. So that's very much a Norse mythology kind of reference, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, it comes out March 29th. So I'm excited about that. Bong Joon-ho,
yes,
you know, of course, Oscar-winning Korean filmmaker. Just every time he puts out a film, it's at least interesting. You know, even if you're not like thinking it's a masterpiece like Parasite. Or, I mean, I think you could argue Snowpiercer is close to a masterpiece. Okja was absolutely incredible. Barking Dogs Never Bite was another good one. Like he's done a lot of good stuff. So
real quick, this I like to kind of like say what these movies remind me of, and I think it's interesting. But this one kind of reminds me of, if you ever get a chance to watch it, I believe it's on Netflix. It's a movie called The Titan. Did you happen to see that one?
No, I had not.
So it's with Sam Worthington, who happened to star in Avatar, obviously. Taylor Schilling, Agnes Dane. It's basically about a guy who he's like this lieutenant in the military, and they're going to send him to, I want to say it was like Jupiter, and because of the harsh environment, they decided to take this team and to change their genetics so that they can survive, so they can breathe the air there, so they can swim in the water. And so it's called the Titan, and it's about his gradual evolution into this other than human creature.
Okay.
So I highly recommend it. It's really cool. But that's what kind of this reminds me of, is because, again, they take him and they start experimenting on him to make him ready for this planet that he's about to go to.
Currently on Netflix. So
yeah. Interesting film.
Let's talk about, we've only got a couple more films before we get into summer. We have, Aaron, I want you to talk about the next one. On April 12th, we have what could be considered another Aaron film. I mean, you're going to be eating good for 2 weeks. April 29th through March 29th through April 12th. Aaron, we get 2 major Aaron films.
Yes. Godzilla and Kong.
We're not versus anymore. Yeah.
Versus anymore. The New Empire. And so, we have legendary film reveals Godzilla, and it's an epic battle. They're supposed to be battling this new Scar King.
Mm-hmm.
There's also another one. So basically what I've heard since we had a discussion recently on the grid is that it's basically the Scar King, and there's another creature that are almost the opposites. They're like the yin and yang to Kong and Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like the evil versions, whereas Kong and Godzilla are there to kind of keep the peace. These guys are there to kind of like tip the scales.
Sure. Interesting.
So I'm pretty excited for that one.
I'm very excited about this. I think the Godzilla and Kong legacy franchise, the universe, I guess if you want to call it that, has been pretty consistent. Like, it's not, I don't think I've loved any film outside of, well, no, I'm going to say it. So I really like Godzilla, the Bryan Cranston one. I really like Kong Skull Island. I think I had a good time with Godzilla King of Monsters, and I had a similar, if not slightly better, good time with King Kong versus Godzilla. So
I mean, they are what they are. They're like these popcorn films that you don't really have to think too much about. You can take kind of an interesting thought, because there's a lot of thought provoking stuff if you want to delve deep into Godzilla.
Godzilla is war.
Godzilla is it's the answer to humans' destructive nature of the earth. Like Godzilla is nature's answer to that, and so. It's definitely an interesting thought about it. So Adam Wingard is going to direct this one, and he obviously he directed
Godzilla versus Kong.
So Any A Horrible Way to Die, You're Next, The Guest, Blair Witch, Death Note.
Basically so he's pretty average to bad movies outside of Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
Which again, you can make an argument that Godzilla versus Kong is a pretty simple, hollow film outside of the fact that you get to see Godzilla versus Kong. You know what I mean? And Mechagodzilla, of course. I know Aaron was a big fan of that. So we covered it here on the show too. It was one of our earlier reviews here on the Oblivion Bar. So before we get into the summer, I want to briefly bring up Challengers, which is the Zendaya film coming out at the end of, I think it's the end of March, if I'm not mistaken. End of April. Now, this, of course, is the trailer. It came out from MGM a couple months ago. You've got Zendaya, Josh O'Connor, and Mike Feist, who essentially, these two friends both want to date Zendaya. She's a high-class tennis player. I think they're all tennis players. And they have like a throuple. That's essentially what I'm getting from it. Let's see here.
So very, very Zendaya-esque.
Yeah. Tom Holland's watching this trailer like, what the fuck?
Oh, get off my lady.
Spider-Man.
Come on, I'm Spider-Man. Get away from them.
Cue in the Spider-Man 3 Venom sound.
You overlooked one in April 19th. Rebel Moon Part 2, and I'm kind of, I haven't seen Part 1. Obviously, it's not
Part
out
1 comes
yet.
out this month. It comes out in December.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking forward to that, because that's, I mean, I know you're not happy about it. It's a Zack Snyder.
No. I'm willing to watch it. I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me set the record straight really quick to everybody here on the Oblivion Bar and Aaron. Okay.
I wanted to bring,
because I'm not. I'm tired of the. I'm tired of this.
Mail.
Don't send me your angry tweets. I don't even have Twitter anymore. Listen. Okay. Zack Snyder. I don't hate everything he does. I just hate everything that he does in the DC universe. Okay. I hate what he did to my favorite heroes. Dawn of the Dead, Sucker Punch to an extent. Like, there are things in that film that I think I should like. I am questioning, like, do I like it or not? I don't know. But Watchmen even though it's a DC property, there are parts in that movie that I really enjoy because they're essentially ripped straight from the comic. What else, Aaron? What else? Day of the Dead. Is that what the one he did for Netflix?
Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead. Sure. It was fine. Okay. It was fine. 300. I liked 300. Like 300, it taps into my simple primate brain that I really like. I just want to beat my chest and, shoot bow and arrow at somebody. That's what 300 does for me. So Zack Snyder, I feel like he has this aesthetic that I really enjoy, but all of his movies and the stories themselves are so stupid that I just like, I'm like watching him like, I want to like chug a monster and just like, I don't know, like I don't know. I
listen to some high paced techno and
some dubstep. Like
dubstep.
that's what Zack Snyder does to me. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that there's like some value in that kind of, but like anybody, if anyone's going to say that Zack Snyder and what he does in film is anything more than that, I think they're kidding themselves. That's my point. Yeah. So let's get into May. We're finally into the blockbuster season. Right?
Let's get hot and heavy because this is going to be a quick and furious amount of movies. But
yeah, we're going to speed this thing up because we're already an hour and 10 minutes into the show. But I want to get into what is maybe this is going to be one of my most anticipated films of the year, which is The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. Again, another trailer I saw over the weekend. This looks hilarious. Ryan Gosling, does he miss? Everything he does is awesome. I just love everything he does. I don't care that he broke up with Taylor Swift in like 2012. I think he's awesome. I love everything he does. And Emily Blunt. Taylor. Yeah, sorry, Taylor. We're Swifties here at the Oblivion Bar. It's just that, Ryan Gosling is awesome.
She's not a good relationship.
She makes her best music when she's not in a relationship. Let's just say that. But it's from David Leitch, who hasn't done a ton of great stuff, in my opinion. Like Bullet Train. I think people wanted to like champion Bullet Train as this incredible film. Did you watch Bullet Train?
I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you can say that. You can say that Bullet Train is like a good fun time, but it wasn't like what I thought people wanted it to be, which was like this really like interesting, incredible film. But
it wasn't Snowpiercer.
It wasn't Snowpiercer. And it also wasn't the Polar Express either. So it was neither one of those films. He also did Hobbs and Shaw, which is,
oh God,
whatever. Sure.
I just call that movie like fist pounding because that's all they do is they just give each other fist pumps.
Yeah.
Fist pounds.
Yep. Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron. Another film that I think people wanted to like champion as something more than it was. But he also did Deadpool 2, which I think is interesting. I like Deadpool 2. I think it's worse than the first one, but it's still pretty fun. So anyway, Fall Guy, let's see here. So it's a new hilarious, hard-driving, all-star apex action thriller. It's a love letter to action films and a hardworking and underappreciated crew of people who make them. So we've got, of course, like we said, Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Winston Duke is in this movie. You've got Aaron Taylor Johnson, Teresa Palmer, Lee Majors. So Ryan Gosling is Colt Severs, a battle-scarred stuntman who, having left the business a year earlier to focus both on his physical and mental health, is drafted back into the service after a star of a mega-budget studio movie being directed by his ex, Jodie Moreau, Emily Blunt's character, goes missing. So basically it's up to Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling to find Emily Blunt's current boyfriend, I think is what, or a star or something. It doesn't matter.
Movie star, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Have you've seen the trailer, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was like, yes. I think I sent it to you.
You may have, yeah.
Yeah.
Just so good. So what else are you excited for in May, Aaron?
So I'm just gonna hit these. This next I'm gonna hit real quick.
Let's hit the ones that we're just kind of somewhat excited for, and then keep going.
So Imaginary Friends is coming up. It's a fantasy comedy. It's actually starring Ryan Reynolds, John Krasinski, Kaylee Fleming, Fiona Shaw. There's a lot of voices in here: Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Steve Carell, Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, Maya Rudolph, Vince Vaughn, Sam Rockwell, Sebastian Maniscalco, Christopher Maloney, Awkwafina, Jon Stewart, Richard Jenkins. It's a ton of people, and it's about a young girl who discovers an ability to see people's imaginary friends who have been abandoned by the kids they helped.
Interesting. So, animated? So this is animated?
I believe it's going to be animated. I really haven't, there's not much about it.
Yeah.
It just popped up and I was like, oh, that looks good. May 17th. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. And then obviously the next week is going to be amazing. Furiosa. I'm super excited.
We already talked about it. It looks good.
Yep. Chris, I'm sure you're excited for the Garfield movie.
Don't care. Chris Pratt is voicing Garfield, everybody. We were joking when we said that we were just going to make Chris Pratt voice every animated character. Nope. They're really doing it, guys. Garfield is being voiced by Chris Pratt. So I guess we're doing this.
Honorable mention to The Watchers. So Ballerina, which is obviously the spinoff of John Wick, that comes out June 7th.
Yep.
The Watchers, which is like a horror movie that's coming out.
Dakota Fanning's in this too.
Yes.
Yeah, looks good. Georgina Campbell, of course, Barbarian fame as well. I want to give a big shout out to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm excited for that. I know you don't really have an attachment to these new Planet of the Apes films, but
I gotta get into it. I gotta check them out.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said before, the Matt Reeves, films, the ones after James Franco are all incredible. Like I think that the new Planet of the Apes trilogy is one of the greatest trilogies of like the 21st century. And that's zero hyperbole. So.
Any love for Bad Boys 4 or Pixar's Inside Out 2, which
Inside Out 2,
Out 2, yes, that one introduces anxiety.
Okay, yeah. And who's voicing anxiety? Did they say?
I'll look it up real quick.
Let's see here. Anxiety is Mia Hawke. Oh, so it's Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman's daughter from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Yep. So. Oh, wait, is she in Stranger Things? I think she's actually... Well, she's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but she was also in... Oh, she is in Stranger Things. Yeah, she's Robin. That's right.
Yes.
So, very excited for Inside Out 2. This might be like a very much needed hit for Pixar. They've gone quite a while without like a true showstopper.
I think the last one was like Turning Red.
Well, I would even say before that. I would say like Incredibles 2, maybe. I'm trying to think of... I'm trying to think what else. I want to focus on this for a quick moment because Pixar kind of we've seen a true shift in their filmography recently.
Well, Toy Story 4 has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
Coco,
I would
2017.
There was a hot streak when they had Coco, Incredibles 2, and Toy Story 4, but since then, Onward was a direct to Disney Plus because of COVID, as was Soul, as was Luca. Returning Red was critically acclaimed, but it wasn't financially like a hit. Lightyear was disregarded. People did not like it.
I love that movie. That movie was great. Elemental, I've heard so many good things, but I just haven't had any desire to watch it.
Well, and see, that's the thing. That's the difference, Aaron, is that Pixar used to be you have to go see it.
True.
Right?
True.
It was must see.
You speak the true.
I speak the true. And we haven't had that from Pixar in a while. So I think Inside Out 2 might be a correct to form kind of film.
Yeah.
So... what else? Quiet Place Day One. So this is a prequel to the Quiet Place series. Aaron famously hates the Quiet Place films. And it's also not being directed by by John Krasinski, who previously, of course...
I want to love them. I want to so badly, but their ideas are so stupid. Okay, if the creatures can't hear you if you live near a waterfall, why not just, or if you go to the waterfall, why not just live by the waterfall?
Aaron, you're using your big brain. You got to use your small brain with these movies because you could say that with anything. Like,
fine.
Why does Michael Myers keep coming back? Why doesn't the DC universe just have Superman solve all its problems?
Somebody tell me that. Somebody tell me why
Somebody
Michael Myers
tell me where the logic is right now.
I've been Googling that for years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I entice you really quick though with this cast? Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things. We've got Lupita Nyong'o, Jaimin Hansu from the second one. Excuse me. He's in that one for a second before he gets killed. Alex Wolff from Hereditary. So lots of pretty cool actors in this. I mean, what was the one with Cillian Murphy? Was that A Quiet Place Part 2? I think it was. Yeah. And you didn't love Part 2. So
it was okay.
Which is fine. That's fine.
Predictable. And John Krasinski fucking died. Sorry.
John Krasinski died in the first one.
Yeah, he was dead.
Let's get into July.
Despicable Me 4. Any concern?
No, I do not care. You have an attachment to the Despicable universe?
I'm over it. Like I was fine after like number 2.
You like the Minions? Do you have some Minions slippers?
My ex loved the Minions.
Oh,
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
No more Minions.
July 19th. Moving on. July 19th. Twisters. How many years later we get a sequel to Twister?
Yeah.
And
plural.
All we get is Twisters.
Yeah.
We not even
it was
Twister
singular.
2.
Now it's plural. Yeah.
Now it's plural. Now we're going to deal with.
If Helen Hunt's not in this movie, I don't want to see it. That's all I'm saying. That's my favorite Austin Powers joke, by the way. What's my favorite Helen Hunt movie? Twister.
I don't think she is.
No, she's not. Glenn Powell's in it though. We've got Superman's in it. David Cornsweet. He's the new Superman. Kieran Shipka, who I love.
It's honestly like they found a Walmart version of what the fuck is his name? What is his name? What is this?
Henry Cavill?
Superman, Henry Cavill.
Well,
David Corenswet.
Listen, Superman has a very distinct look, so you have to stick to the game plan.
Somebody nailed their homework.
James Gunn did.
He nailed his homework because this guy literally looks like a. If you were to take Tom Welling in high school and like say, hey, we want you to like easily become somehow Henry Cavill in like 20 years, David Corenswet is like the best he could accomplish.
Yeah, I can see that. And actually I've seen some photos here recently of him doing some other like some Broadway stuff, and he's getting jacked. So I'm excited for David and his interpretation, but we'll talk about that in 2025. That's when Superman comes out. But Glenn Powell, David Corenswet, Karen Shipka, who is from the Sabrina Netflix show. Remember her?
It's pronounced Sabrina.
Okay.
No,
Daisy Edgar Jones, who I like. Your boy Anthony Ramos from Transformers and from In the Heights is in this as well.
Yay!
So that's pretty cool. So yeah, I know. I will definitely. I'm semi excited for Twisters.
Twisters the musical.
All
the
right.
music's written by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Twisters by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
You got July 26th. You got Deadpool 3. Is that still on par?
Finally, we get our first MCU film of the year.
Is that still on schedule?
Yeah, this is the only MCU film of the year.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
I think it's happening. I think MCU is gonna bet hard on Deadpool. Horde. Excited for Deadpool 3?
Yeah. It's on my list. It's on my very limited list of very excited ones because somehow Marina Baccarin is still in it. I don't know if that's how you say her name, but Marina Baccarin.
Doesn't she die in every movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's dead. Yes, actually. Yeah.
Weird. I don't know.
Emma Corrin, Ryan Reynolds, Marina Baccarin, Jennifer Garden.
Jennifer Garner's in it. Yeah.
God damn it. I thought that was a joke. I thought that was a joke.
No.
Oh, I hate it. Huge Jackman, Matthew McFadden, Brianna Hildebrand, Rob Delaney. Didn't Rob Delaney play Peter? Yeah, he played Peter. How's Peter? I guess they're bringing Peter back. That's great.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. It's all timey-wimey.
Yeah,
multiverse stuff.
Kutsunu. Hi, Yukio. Yuki. Karan Sony is Depinder. It
would be silly to name off every actor that's going to show up in this movie because it's been highly rumored that this is just going to be a who's who of the Fox X-Men stuff. So
I am just really glad that Colossus, that Stefan Kapicic is back.
Good representation of Colossus, and I liked I liked him in the first two films. So let's get into August. That's my birth month, and we've got temperature check. What's your excitement level for Borderlands? What's your attachment to Borderlands, by the way? Because you're the gamer.
You totally skipped over it. Harold in the Purple Crayon.
Okay, sure.
Don't care.
Don't care about Borderlands, huh? What if I told you Jamie Lee Curtis is in it?
I'm in.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett, Jack Black, Kevin Hart.
We'll see. Okay. So again, I've played Borderlands. Not a big fan of it. I'll probably see this. We might even talk about it on the show. We might even review it. We'll see.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. We've also got Ariana Greenblatt, who she was in Barbie. She was the daughter to in the film, and then she's baby Ahsoka in the TV series. If you've seen that. So, cool. All right. Well, I think we should definitely cover that one for sure.
Is she not also baby Gamora?
Perhaps, maybe. I think yes. I think you're right. I can't.
I need to look that up because that's gonna bother me. Go ahead, continue. She is in Love and Monsters, which I really enjoyed. Yep, young Gamora. Boom. Fuck.
Aaron pulled that from the depths of his cranium right there, everybody.
Yes.
August 16th, Alien Romulus. Aaron, are you excited about Alien Romulus? Did we talk about it today?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yep. A little bit. You're gonna hear more about aliens from me later in the episode, but yes, I am. Okay. I am excited for Alien Romulus. And moving on, next week or
we are not
2
covering
weeks later.
This. We are not covering this. No, I refuse. If we cover this, we have to cover Madam Web.
Fine.
Okay, virtual handshake.
Fine. Virtual gentleman's agreement.
All right, fine. Craven the Hunter. God.
Craven the Hunter. God.
He got lion blood in his. Did he swallow lion's blood? Is that what happened, or he got in his bloodstream somehow?
In a cut. I think he got bit, and then it got in his cut.
Okay.
Sure. It should have been the tear of a lion. That's what
yes. Oh, yeah.
One lion.
I would have been in.
Superpower.
I would have been in. Okay, sure. Russell Crowe's in this.
Yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson plays Craven.
I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I like him even when the movie is bad.
Yeah.
I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. So I think if nothing else, that has me excited.
I just can't believe the glow up, man. The glow up in Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
Oh, he is a piece. He is a
unit.
He is a what is he specimen.
He's a specimen. No cap, as the kids say.
And then we got I'm gonna bring this up. September 6th.
We're getting to September.
What? Beetlejuice 2.
Okay. All right. And we just got some announcement. I think they just recently announced that who was it is going to be in this film? Willem Dafoe, I think, is playing an undead detective in this movie, which is cool. But of course, we've got Jenna Ortega, who is supposed to be playing Lydia's kid. Of course, Lydia being played by Winona Ryder from back in the day. Catherine O'Hara's, returning as Della. Do we have any confirmation that Michael Keaton is back as Beetlejuice? That's happening, right?
Yeah, that's Michael Keaton, Willem Dafoe, Justin Theroux is actually in this. I don't know what he's gonna be.
Yeah.
Philippe Cates.
I like Justin Theroux. I like seeing him in things.
Yeah, he's good.
Yep.
There's a lot of people in this because you even have Christopher C. James, Travis Campbell,
Yeah.
Gianni Calcetti, who I have no idea who that is, but I'm pretty excited for this one, especially with Michael Keaton returning, because I know that there's been a lot of people really wanting to bring this film back to reality. Monica Bellucci apparently is playing Beetlejuice's wife, and she's always been very attractive as well. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they kind of, with how Beetlejuice is like the ugly ghost, and they have like him having like a beautiful, almost model-esque wife, you know.
Yeah, this is interesting. I think on paper Beetlejuice 2 sounds like a good idea, especially with people involved. But that first one is I have this hot take, Aaron. Tell me if I'm wrong here. I think Tim Burton
shake it all the time. Yeah, go ahead.
Tim Burton, I think his style is played out.
You shut your mouth. You shut your goddamn mouth. Oh,
listen,
my God.
He worked in the 80s. I'm going to take it one step further.
Oh man, if you were here, I would slap you across the face. I would slap you, and you would look at me and be like, get out of my house. I would slap you.
Listen, I'm going to say this. Tim Burton has not made a good movie since Corpse Bride in 2005. Tell me I'm wrong. What other movie has he made since 2005 that's good? Let me just go over the list really quick. You tell me. I'm just going to go down the list. You tell me what is good. Okay. So we have 2005. We'll just start with his, we'll just go down the filmography. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Great. Beetlejuice, great. Batman 89, great. Edward Scissorhands, amazing. Batman Returns, awesome. Ed Wood, sure. Mars Attacks, awesome. Sleepy Hollow, meh. Planet of the Apes, not good. Big Fish, not good. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. What's your temperature check on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
I loved it.
Okay, I think it's fine.
Wacky, zany.
It's 2005.
I'm just throwing this out there. Did Wednesday.
Okay, we'll get there. Hang on. So, Corpse Bride, good. Sweeney Todd, what are your thoughts?
Loved it. Loved Sweeney Todd.
I didn't like it. Alice in Wonderland, hated it actually.
Not a big fan of that. Not a big fan of it. It was definitely his, but I'm not a super big fan of that one.
See, that's the thing, is that all these movies that I'm about to list here are definitely Tim Burton films. They're just not. He had a. Okay, I have this theory that like Tim Burton is in the same class as like Frank Miller in comics. Frank Miller, what he would do as a writer, as a storyteller, would go up to the line and would barely cross it. And he was like considered edgy because of it. But Tim Burton did the same thing in film. Like he had this line of gothic horror that he would toe. But the thing is, he was so influential in film that people have done it since him and they continue to do it. And I think just the playbook has been played out, in my opinion. Let's keep going though.
We'll see. September 6th, we'll talk about this.
Well, hold on. Dark Shadows.
That was funny. That was funny as shit to me. I loved it.
I thought it was kind of throwaway. Frankenweenie? That was actually pretty good. I like Frankenweenie. Okay, fair enough. Okay, Big Eyes? Not good.
Never saw it.
Yeah. Miss Pettigreen's Home of Peculiar Children.
I enjoyed it. I have the book now. I'm going to read that.
Forgettable. Dumbo? Not good.
No, never watched
it.
Okay.
And then, as you were saying there, Wednesday. Okay, sure. But I actually haven't seen Wednesday, so I can't really vouch for that. But I know people love it. So I will give you that win. So 2 wins since 2005. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. We'll have to just see in September.
Enter the quote of the Big Lebowski saying, "Well, that's just like your opinion, man." Following Beetlejuice 2.
This is interesting. Aaron, talk about this one because we need to talk about this.
Still in production.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course.
Transformers 1.
Is this animated?
I don't think so.
This has to be animated. Look at the cast. This is the cast, everybody. Scarlett Johansson, John Hamm, Chris Hemsworth, Lawrence
and it
Lawrence
also
Fishburne.
says voice. Well, no.
I mean, it could be the voice, but it also could just. I mean, they're Transformers, so it's always going to be the voice. You're not going to have Scarlett Johansson doing motion cap for a Transformer. But True. Brian Tyree Henry, Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah, this is probably going to be animated.
Okay, but still, Transformers. Again, talk about what I'm going to look this up while you vamp, but
I was done with it. Yeah, I'm excited.
All right.
I wanted to talk about the next movie that I'm super excited about. Monkey Paw with Jordan Peele.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Oof, man.
So is this like his next one? Is this the next film?
Yeah, this
after Nope.
Yep. So Monkey Paw, Jordan Peele won't have one, but he'll have two movies in 24. One's an untitled horror thriller. Actually, excuse me, I'm sorry. I take that back. So Monkey Paw is actually his production company.
Okay. Oh, so this is just
going to be a movie about the
untitled Monkey Paw film.
Yeah.
So probably produce, right?
So So he has two coming out this year. He has one, and we'll talk about the other one. But September, it's an untitled horror thriller, September 27th, and then he's got one coming out on Christmas Day also.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, Jordan Peele, he doesn't miss.
Oh, he does not.
We'll be there for that. October 4th, we've got Joker Folie à Deux. We're excited.
Yes.
Joker, check. Lady Gaga, check. I guess I should say Joaquin Phoenix, check. Musical? Question mark? Check, check, check. Let's do it. Smile 2 on October 18th. Any interest in Smile?
Not really. The first one, I get it.
Apparently it was good. I don't know. I didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
I didn't see it.
So it was basically a lot like It Follows. If you ever saw the movie It Follows, it was kind of like a horror. If you turned so It Follows was about basically making a horror movie out of an STD and how it follows you. Okay. Smile was about making a horror movie about mental health and how it like trauma follows you and then affects everybody around you.
Isn't that what Blumhouse does though really well?
Yeah.
Like they take a simple modern problem and they spin it in a horrific way and they make it for $10 million and then they make $100 million at the box office. Like that's what they do.
I don't know how a second one could bring it home any more than that, but I guess
the thing is, it doesn't matter what the story is. They're going to make it for $5 million and they're going to make 60 in its opening weekend. They can. I mean, Blumhouse is known for this. They have essentially created the format of the cheap horror film that they put them out strategically to where there's no other horror films around, so that they can make buku money because horror fans are always fiending for the next horror film.
True.
So
speaking of horror films, are you at all excited for Terrifier 3? Have you seen either of the other two?
I have not. Have you?
So I have not seen either of them. There was Art, who is the clown.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy who did a very good Art cosplay at the convention that I was at recently, and apparently it's a huge hit of a horror series. I just have not seen it. And then Terrifier 3 is coming out, obviously. So
yeah. Well, okay. Let me ask you this, Aaron. Continue on into November. We've got Venom 3. Now, are we gonna get the classic, Carnage Venom team up to take on whoever Venom's gonna go up against? Now, rumors are that it's probably gonna be the Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman created villain from their Venom series. What's his name?
Oh, King in Black.
Yeah, King in Black. That's his name.
Yeah.
That's the rumor right now, is that it's gonna be King in Black.
Interesting.
Do you think that Carnage and him are going to team up and fight? I don't think that makes sense to me. Like Carnage is a true fucking maniac. Like Venom is obviously, I don't like the fact that they've made him into a full-fledged even anti-hero, but like Venom at least has like a conscience, I guess, or he's just a hero in this universe.
I don't see it going because it's too much of a fucking joke. It's too much of a joke. I can't take them serious. And if you want to if you want to put in a symbiote god who basically comes and has planet killing like level power, and you're gonna bring this jokey ass like symbiote against him. It doesn't make any sense. It's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work.
Plus, the King in Black is like a universal villain, like big villain.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just don't see it. But we'll see. I liked the first one, I guess. The second one I did not like at all. I think we actually, it was our stinker of the year last year in our last Call Awards.
Now, Juno Temple, if you watched Ted Lasso, she played I forget her name, but she's like the girlfriend of Roy.
Oh, sure.
And she's in it. So, I mean, to be honest, I could see her playing somebody like Scream or
Scream is kind of in the first one, kind of.
Kind of a little bit, but I mean, we'll I mean like a female symbiote type like that has like a little bit of that craziness. I think Toxin
would be an interesting one. I think, because Toxin is the offspring of Carnage.
Yeah.
So, let's go into one that I'm actually really excited for, because I just watched this. I rewatched it the other night, which is Gladiator. You know, of course, Gladiator 2, which is coming out on November 22nd. The first one is a classic. It's an all timer for Ridley Scott, which is saying something. And I don't know what the story is for Gladiator 2, because if you've seen Gladiator 1, it kind of ends definitively. So I don't know what they're going to do here, but Denzel Washington, Pedro Pascal, Connie Nielsen, Paul Mescal is going to be in this, Joseph Quinn, like we were, of Stranger Things fame, Derek Jacob, Matt Lucas. I think we've got the return of, who else is supposed to be in this? I've heard Joaquin Phoenix is supposed to be back.
Probably flashbacks or something.
Sure. Yeah. Russell Crowe, of course, is supposed to be back as well. So
I could see, I've heard that this is going to kind of be centered around obviously like Lucius, and it could be turned, like I could see it going along the lines of either he's somehow like removed from whatever role that he is, and he basically takes on the role of the gladiator.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we'll see.
Okay. What's your relationship with Wicked? I know you're a big theater head. So
yeah,
Wicked, any interest in the November 27th?
I'm hoping by this time, because one of the things when I moved to New York, I have wanted to see Wicked in theater for so long, and it didn't happen the last few times that I was actually in New York. So I will hopefully have a better understanding of this going into next year.
I'm not excited by the director. We've got John M. Chu, who did.
I'm not excited for it at all, because it even has Ariana Grande in it.
He did Dance Camp. He did Single.
Jeff Goldblum is going to be in it. So
yeah, I mean, Jeff Goldblum's known to take a check every once in a while. Like he just sometimes he'll just take a movie. I guess he directed In the Heights, so. That's something, but he did Crazy Rich Asians, I guess. Okay, fair enough. I guess I just know him from G.I. Joe Retaliation. And then he also directed Justin Bieber, Never Say Never. So I don't know. Sometimes you get a bad view.
Yeah.
All right, let's go in the final month. Aaron, we got Karate Kid.
What the hell?
What are you saying? What the hell for?
Karate Kid,
because what's interesting about this is going to be the combination of the Jackie Chan universe and the Ralph Macchio universe. They're bringing them together, everybody. They're finally doing it. So the thing is though, Jackie Chan doesn't do karate. He does kung fu.
Yeah,
those are different. That's the thing. But also, are we going to get a return of? Not to the weaves though. Are we going to get a return of Jaden Smith?
I hope not.
What about Hilary Swank? Is she going to be in this movie too?
I hope not.
I want to see Cobra Kai show up, because I really like
that would be cool. That would be cool if it was just like a
three-way match.
The Karate Kid verse.
Sure. Let's do it. Yeah. Lord of the Rings, War of the
Rohirrim, the untold story behind Helm's Deep. I don't care. I mean, I'll see it. I'm not a huge
hot take, everybody. Aaron and I don't care about Lord of the Rings, and we never have, and we may probably never will. Okay, moving on. Mufasa.
Who directed the first ones? It was
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson. Yeah, Peter Jackson's not even directing this. So
no, who is though? I'm curious, really quick.
Kenji Kamiyama.
Nope, don't know. He's done some. Wait. Oh, he was in the. I was gonna say I saw Akira. He was he was in the animation department. So that's where he's.
Maybe
from.
Is this gonna be animated?
That would be cool. I would be down for a Lord of the Rings animated series.
I mean, I do see a lot of voices. So
yeah. Okay. Sure. Who are some of the? Did they say who some of the
Oh,
voices
look,
are?
yeah. So like, okay, so Brian Cox, from Succession.
Yeah.
He voices Helm Hammerhand. And here's the thing. Here's how I know it's probably going to be animated is because Miranda Otto, who played Eowyn from I want to say the Two Towers,
Mm-hmm.
She's listed as a voice
Okay.
voice actor in this.
So
So
they'd have to DH her if this was live action.
exactly.
Sure. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see as we get closer. But I'll tell you one that I'm not excited for and I don't care about is Mufasa the Lion King. Now, Aaron, is this going to make $1 billion? Absolutely.
Probably.
Is it going to be good though?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Is it animated?
No. Well, that depends on what you consider animated. I mean, they're going to call it live action. See, that's everyone listening right now. They're going to call this live action Lion King. Have you seen the Lion King, the remake? It's not live action. It's literally just animation, realistic. It's realistic animation. It's being directed by Barry Jenkins, who did he did Moonlight, which is really good. I really like Moonlight.
See, that's the thing. It's confusing to me because it's talking about how Simba wants his kid to fight, and I apparently he named his son Mufasa. I never saw any of the follow-on sequels to The Lion King, but I thought for a second there, I thought it was a prequel because it was called Mufasa. You know,
Mufasa.
Mufasa.
Ooh, say it again.
All
right.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Yes. Yeah, all the yeses.
Yes.
They've been good, Aaron. They've been good.
They have. They've been really good.
We've covered both on the show, and
we got Shadow.
Both.
Shadow's going to be in this one, and they just recently released a teaser showing Shadow's feet and the clicker with the release date. So we're definitely getting this next year.
Yeah, the first two, I think, leading up to the first one, I was like, okay, live action Sonic. Plus, there was all that controversy with them redoing Sonic digitally. I was like, okay, whatever. This is probably not going to be any good. And then it was fun. And then the second one came out. I was like, oh my God, this is actually good. Because the second one, they lean more into the Sonicness of it all.
Yes.
So,
and I'm going to say it, Jim Carrey steals the entire movie.
Is Jim Carrey going to be in this one? Because he's kind of semi-retired. To date, Sonic 2 was his last film.
Oh, well, he's not listed thus far. I'm looking at the top cast. And he's not.
The series would be very much lacking if Jim Carrey is not in this movie. Like Egghead really honestly makes the first two movies.
How are they are they gonna kill him off screen?
No, they can't. They would probably they're probably just gonna make Shadow the bad guy. And then they'll make him the bad guy initially, and then they'll Knuckles, him, Tails, they're all gonna have to team up to fight something else. Right. Yeah. That's probably gonna be it. All right. Christmas Day, and this will be our last films that we talk about. We've got the Jordan Peele Untitled film. We don't know what it is, but Jordan, you had us at Jordan Peele. And then Nosferatu. Now, this is going to be interesting. This is Robert Eggers, who, of course, we all know, did Witch over at A24. So, of course, he also did The Northman with Skarsgård. He also did The Lighthouse, which was my favorite film of 2019. Yeah. No, he's great.
Is it not funny that Nicholas Hoult is going to be in this?
Nicholas Hoult, a true monopoly on the vampire genre. He can't get away from because he's a tall, linky, like translucent actor.
He's pasty. He pulls off pasty well. But you got Nicholas Hoult, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Bill Skarsgård. You got a Skarsgård.
Willem Dafoe, who is a walking vampire.
Is this not the same cast as Beetlejuice 2? No way.
Oh. No, it's basically it's the Witch and the Lighthouse and the Northman mixed together. It's those three movies mixed together into one. Lily Rose Depp. We've got Johnny Depp, and I'm forgetting who the mother is, but it's Johnny Depp's daughter. So that's cool. Vanessa Perez, whatever. Anyway, excited. Robert Eggers, I'm in. So that'll conclude it. Wow, that was long-winded. Sorry, everybody. That was a long list. We should have known. Every year we go over on this episode. But all that to be said, Aaron, 2024. And again, we can tell that there's a lot missing because in 2020 this year, there was a lot of big budget action. That's kind of the thing that's missing. You know, if you ask me, like you've got a couple big budgeters. We got, Twisters. We've got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Furiosa, Fall Guy, if you want to call it that, Godzilla and Kong New Empire.
Give me 5 or 6 of your most anticipated for the whole year.
Okay. Just off the dome. Dune Part 2. Ghostbusters I'm really excited for. The Fall Guy. Furiosa. And one more I'm excited for. I mean, I really want to put Deadpool in there. Joker, but Nosferatu, yeah. Gladiator 2. I'm gonna say my last spot is gonna probably be Joker, Folie à Deux. No, Deadpool 3. And I think of those, the one I'm most excited for is Fall Guy on May 3rd. What about you? What are some most anticipated? No, gosh darn it. Dune Part 2 though.
Yeah. Dune Part 2, Ghostbusters, Godzilla Kong. Yeah, Fall Guy, Deadpool 3, Lisa Frankenstein honestly looks really good. Tim.
Yeah.
Like yeah, there's a good 10 movies that I'm really excited for this year coming up. It's going to be a good movie year for us.
I'm excited for the lessening of content too. I know that we talked about this at the beginning and how like there was a definite reason for that, but the less content hopefully means better content. And I'm going to change my answer. Dune Part 2 is what I'm most excited for. It's close though.
I'm just going to throw Ghostbusters. Obviously it's
sure.
My top. That's my number one most anticipated.
All right. Well, that'll do it for our most anticipated films of 2024. Let's go ahead and get into my favorite segment on the show, which is Aaron's Arcade.
It's time for Aaron's Arcade.
Aaron's Arcade is sponsored by G Fuel. Whether you're a casual gamer, content creator, an everyday Joe, or an esports pro, G Fuel's sugar-free antioxidant and vitamin-fortified focus enhancing and high-performance energy products will give you the edge you need to fuel your grind. While stocking up at gfuel.com, use our code OBP at checkout for 10% off your entire order. That's OBP at checkout. I'm actually drinking a G Fuel right now. I'm drinking Dream Demon. That's why I'm talking so fast, because it's clean, good energy. This week I'm talking about Aliens Dark Descent. I kind of mentioned it, I think, on the grid. Just got it the other day. I am just in love with this game. It is equal parts horror, strategy, and RPG. And it's so much fun. So it's a real-time tactics video game, which I've never really been a fan of. So it's a very new concept to me. Developed by Tindalos Interactive. It's actually in collaboration, believe this or not, with 20th Century Games, owned by Disney.
Oh,
yeah. So it's actually set in the Aliens universe. I don't know if it's canon or not. That's something I didn't find. Doubt it. So Dark Descent story is set in the year 2198, 19 years after the events of the original trilogy. Real-time tactics video game played from a top-down perspective. Players need to issue commands to a squad of 4 colonial marines who must battle the xenomorphs and rogue agents from the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. It basically has classes. It has, you have medics, you have engineers, you have like all this stuff, and you have to fight just onslaughts of xenomorphs that come out of these, like, what do you call them? It's like immersion holes. So it's the crazy thing about this is you not only have to maintain like the physical health of the Marines, but you also have to maintain their mental health.
Okay.
So that has a really interesting aspect to it, because as they fight and fight and fight, their mental health levels will start to drop. So you actually have to find places.
Well, yeah, wouldn't yours?
Yeah. So you have to find places to kind of lock down your team and give them a moment to rest. So it's actually, I love the fact that there is that consideration of a soldier's mental health in this game. It's actually like mid fight. So I kind of really respect the grind of this game. So like, yeah, if you put them under too much strain, it affects how they fight and how they perceive danger. Let's see. Squad members can die permanently after being attacked, or you can rescue them. Players can evacuate during a mission to prevent the entire loss of a squad. Again, it's got a really interesting story where you are the main character you're kind of dealing with is like the administrator to a space station, and she has to use this defense space station's like missile batteries to basically destroy like all these ships within this planet's like I guess perimeter. And all the survivors don't know that she's the one that set off the missiles. So like she's almost giving orders to your Marines. Like she's like the main kind of antagonist, but all she's doing it in order to keep the aliens confined to this planetary area. So I'm still like really new into the story. So we haven't the rest of the Marines haven't figured out that she's the one that set off the missiles. And yeah, so it's really cool because I don't remember if you know the APC vehicle from the Aliens movie. It's basically like the tank vehicle they used to drive through the installation on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
You actually get control of that. You don't get to drive it around, but you can call it to different parts of the map and use it as almost a defense platform for when you're outside and you need to exfil like civilians or survivors. There's a lot of sneaking, but at the same time there's a very cool combat aspect to it where you have to really make decisions in a split second time to either like grenade aliens, and if you shoot them when they're too close to you, your Marines will actually get acid damage.
They've thought of it all.
They've done it all. It is such a cool game that it has so many levels of thought to its strategy. Like again, thinking about your Marines' mental health. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend this game. Great graphics, great story. The gameplay it's a little tough to pick up, honestly, but honestly, you don't need to learn every single the controls. I think the worst thing about it are the controls, because sometimes they're a little bit fumbly when you need to like, because you're using the R2 and the L2 to kind of scroll through the options instead of like using the other buttons. So that's really my only gripe, is the controls are kind of a little wonky to a degree. It might be better on PC if you're using mouse and keyboard. But yeah, that's Aliens Dark Descent. It's on almost every platform except for obviously your Nintendo platforms. But definitely a fun pickup. I highly recommend it. I'll try and put up some footage of it, some play footage of it on social media. Check me out at Better Actions on Twitter, at Better Actions TTV on Instagram, and at Better Actions on TikTok, and I'll try and get some footage of it up. Saying that, let's go to my favorite part of the show, which is Chris's Corner.
It's time for Chris's Corner.
This week for Chris's Corner, we're going to be talking about a movie. We're going to be talking about my new favorite movie of 2023, which is Saltburn, which is written, directed, and produced by Emerald Fennell. It stars Barry Keoghan from Eternals. We got Jacob Elordi, Rosamund Pike, Richard E. Grant, Allison Oliver, Archie Madekwe, and Carey Mulligan. So, Aaron, this came out last week. It had kind of a smaller release. This has been kind of a polarizing film overall. Like, I've seen kind of both sides of the critical reception. Some people have regarded this film as maybe one of the, an interesting film, an interesting like release. And some have called it kind of shallow. Like, most notably, one of my favorite podcasts outside of the Oblivion Bar is The Big Picture over on The Ringer. And they kind of tore into this movie. I was very surprised that they didn't kind of find the genius in it that I did. And I'll give you a synopsis here. Set in England in the mid-2000s, it follows a young university student who becomes obsessed with his wealthy schoolmate who invites him to spend the summer at his eccentric family's estate. Now, Saltburn is actually the name of the estate, which is based off the Drayton House in North Hampshire, a 128-room grade mansion. So Barry Keoghan, I think, deserves a nom for this movie, as does Rosamund Pike. I think Rosamund Pike should get Best Supporting Actress at the Oscars in the next couple months. I think this movie asks a lot of interesting questions. I don't think it answers a lot of it. And I think that's maybe where people have found some shortcomings. I like the swing, I think, really is honestly where I find the interest level for this. It first premiered at the Telluride Film Festival back in August to like wide critical reception, which is why I was so excited for it. And Emerald Fennell, I think, asks a lot of questions about like sexuality and class. Like, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of interesting questions. I don't want to spoil anything. I think people should go out and watch this. It's also produced by Margot Robbie, which I thought was interesting. I saw her name pop up at the beginning of the film, and I wanted to kind of highlight that. So,
a quick question though.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but you said that this is your new favorite movie of 2023.
This is my new favorite.
What was the previous favorite movie?
Across the Spider-Verse was my favorite.
Okay.
Before.
Cool.
Which I still love. And I think you could I could make an argument for Saltburn and Across the Spider-Verse as being like 1A, 1B. Like, I genuinely love both. But I think Saltburn just asks some more interesting kind of important questions. So I highly recommend people to go see it. Like, go see it in theaters if you can. It's a beautiful film. Like, the cinematography is absolutely incredible by Linus Sandgren. I get the complaints because A Promising Young Woman was her first film, and I think Saltburn has a lot of the same problems, which is that it asks a lot of questions and doesn't answer any of them. But I think that's a creative decision. I don't think that's a lack of storytelling. Like, I think that's like her going out and asking questions. So once again, Saltburn, highly recommend it. Go check it out. I would love to hear people's thoughts on it. And that'll do it for episode 141 of the Oblivion Bar podcast. Aaron, we have one more episode of the Oblivion Bar left in 2023. Sad face. But don't put that frown upside down, because we are doing, again, maybe one of our favorite episodes of the year, which is our last Call Awards. It's kind of like our Oscars. So tune in next week for that. We love doing that. We'll give out a bunch of David A. Whiners. Super excited. So actually, that's a lie. Aaron, we have one other episode to do before our last Call Awards. We have another favorite segment. Do you know what that is?
Battle Royale.
We have a Battle Royale coming up. Battle Royale number 5, which is exciting for episode 142. So I lied to everybody.
And I'm sure we'll promise at some point during that episode to not take so long to do it again.
Yeah, and we will. We definitely will. Well, it just keep the time in between each Battle Royale keeps getting further and further apart. But, we don't want to ruin a good thing. When we've got a good segment, we can't ruin it, right? So be excited for Battle Royale number 5. That'll be hitting your ear holes in the next week or so. So, Aaron, take us out of episode 141.
All right. Subscribe to our podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Audible, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. We'll be there. Thank you to our patrons, Alex, Alice, Aaron, Cassidy, Christy, David, George, Greg from First Issue Club, Haley, Kenny, Botter from the Short Box, Jake from Spectales, Jake S, Jason, Jeremy, Kyle, Losi, Mac, Miles, Mike, Robert, Travis, and Brad and Lisa from the Comic Book Couples Counseling. Yo. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads at Oblivion Bar Pod. Thank you, Whatnot, for sponsoring our news and notes segment. Check out our referral link in the show notes and follow us over on Whatnot at Oblivion Bar Pod. Thank you, Omnibus, for sponsoring the show. Use the link in our show notes to upgrade how you read comic books digitally. Omnibus, it's bitchin'. Official merch of the show can be found on our website, www.oblivionbarpodcast.com. Get some of that sweet merch, yo.
Yep.
No cap, it's fly. Thank you, Kevin Ziegler, for all of our Oblivion Bar art. He's at the Zig Zone on Instagram, dude. Thank you, Dream Kid, for all of our musical themes. Thank you, DJ Skyvac, for our grid theme. And thank you, Fantasy Shop, for sponsoring the show.
Dude.
Don't forget to tip your bartenders, bro. 20% or more, or you're a piece of crap.
That's right. 20% or more, always. Thank you guys so much for listening to episode 141. It was a long one. We appreciate it, though. Thank you so much.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. And we'll see you next week for episode 142.